So before getting ahead with another get endpoint, let's make a post endpoint so that we can create an article. So for creating an article, we need a few things such as the title, its description, and the name of the person that added it. We'll be auto-populating the timestamp based on the current date and time. So let's see what a post endpoint would look like. So like I said, we need three things for making an endpoint. First thing is the name of the HTTP method. This is a post request. So second thing is the URI. So we'll be using the same URI /article. Here we'll be having two things. One would be the request body. So request body would be some JSON payload and which would have information of title, description, and name, which we'll discuss later on. So we can give a response as a string and that would say new article has been created. So the response code are very important while making a REST endpoint. So here in the response of a post request, since we are creating a new resource, we'll be giving as 201, which stands for created, and not 200, which stands for OK. So you should also take into consideration these response code. So let's start with the controller layer. So I'll be adding the post mapping here. So just like a get mapping annotation, we have a post mapping for post request. And similarly for this one, we'll be specifying the URI /article. Let's make a method of this. Since we are creating one article, we'll keep it as singular, create article, and this article would accept a request payload, and that would be itself an article entity. Now to specify that this is particularly a request body or a request payload, we'd specify an annotation called request body. And finally, we want to return some string. So let's return a string. So that's it. We are done with our post mapping for controller layer. So let's move into service layer. So the one thing to note is that we are taking this article entity as the request body for endpoint. Sometimes people change this and they do not want this article entity to be the endpoint. So they make another DTO, which is data transfer object, and that would contain less number of attributes that are required. So let's say there are 100 fields in our article class or our article table, but why would we need 100 properties in our request body? So we can create similar to article entity and article DTO class, and we could have only 2 to 3 properties which are required for request body. So one thing Spring Boot automatically does is that it will convert our request JSON payload to this article entity object, and that is done by Jackson library. So let's write few lines of code for service layer. So I pasted the same method. We do not want this since this is a service layer. So now from this service layer we'll be calling a repository method, and that is a save method. So let's see what we can do that. So we'll be having this article repository as instance, and then we'll be calling the save method. So the save method expects an object, and that object should be of type whatever we have specified in the article repository. So here we've specified article entity, so it's expecting that type. So a few things to note, that in the article entity in the payload will be specifying only title, description, and added by. This ID would be automatically generated since we have provided @generated annotation. So this timestamp won't be generated automatically. So one such way could be in the Java itself. So you can modify this. So let's do that. So one important thing to note here is that you're able to access the setter methods of this object. So you might have noticed that we do not have any setter method inside that, and that is possible because of this setter annotation. So here's what I've done is that I've added a timestamp. So I've created a new timestamp and I've added that. So let's make this method void and we'll return something from the controller itself. So now let's call that service layer method, and now we'll return something like, so one important thing to note is that we are returning a string. So whenever we return simple objects from any request endpoint, it by default returns a 200 status code. So now we are done with our controller, service, and repository mapping for this new endpoint, but it would return 200 status code, and that we do not want. So the way we can resolve this is by returning a response entity. So a response entity is nothing a packaged class. So there are two main things that we can store inside that response entity. So the one thing is the response payload. In our case, the response payload is a string, and the other thing is the response status code. So here you can see we have multiple implementations of response entity. So one such thing could be you will return only the status code. The other thing would be you could return a body, that is whatever response that you want. In our case, we are just gonna return a string as a response, along with that a status code, and we'll be choosing this implementation. So let's write down the body. The body is a string and the status code is, so this represents 201, and this should be used whenever we are creating a resource. So let's return a response entity instead of returning a string. As I said, it's a wrapper. So let's wrap it down. So that's it, we're done. We are sending a response entity with a body of a string. So let's run this. I'm at the get endpoint, so which would return all the articles. So right now it doesn't have any article. So let's post an article and let's see what it gives us. So I'll be choosing the post HTTP request, and let's write down the URI. So now we have the URL also. So let's write down the final thing, which is the request body. We'll be selecting JSON as a payload. So let me quickly add the few attributes that we had: title, description, and name. So what Spring does is it automatically converts this JSON payload into an article entity class. So all the keys of that JSON payload should match with those of this article entity. And of course, the values data type should also match. So let's see what it does. So you can see the response type is 201, which is created and which is perfect. And it's also giving us the response body as some string. So let's hit the get endpoint. So here you go. We have a list of all the articles, and this is the first article. So let's post another one. So this ID has been automatically implemented, and this timestamp is something new every time. So now what I would be doing is I'll go to my YAML file and I would remove this DDL auto create option. So what this option does is that it will drop all my tables from this database and it will create based on whatever entities I've annotated with add entity. So what it means is that if I restart my server again, my Spring Boot application, it will create the database or the table again, which I don't want because I'll be losing the data that I've created right now. Also, I don't think it's a very good practice to create tables using these entity annotations.